Welcome back to Nicolanda's Comic Corner, Classic That's Known Classics. This episode number 2251 and Doubleshot number 2145. Got two more trades to you. One is fairly recent. I was actually quite surprised this one was released. I'll get to that one with it. And quite possibly the oldest set of issues I've ever reviewed when it comes to reviewing Marvel stuff. And I do mean the oldest. And I'm like, wow, this is something. All right. First up we have is Man-Thing by R.L. Stine. Yeah, this collects Man-Thing. I believe this is volume 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, first Man-Thing volume published in years. Yes, as you can tell, yes, written by R.L. Stine. Yep, he is the writer here. With artwork by the main story by Jeremy Pelisa. The three backup stories, their stories in here are Put a Ring on It, Daniel Johnson. Drive the Horror Highway, Christopher Mitten. Kate Michigan's Like a Horror Movie. Neighbor Watched by Jonathan Marks Perchica. And Tyler Cook, who is a crook who's a really good artist. He does the Black Hammer series. The Perfect Boyfriend. Yes. R.L. Stine and Man-Thing. Match made in heaven. He is a horror character, and R.L. Stine is known for writing horror books. Well, children's horror books, mind you. Yes, R.L. Stine wrote the Goosebumps series. A novel series that was turned into a very successful TV show, which I have seen, Goosebumps. It's a great show, despite the fact they adapt all the frickin' books. Like, here's the thing. Like, the only kind of books that got sequels that they did both things for was The Haunted Mask. You might be thinking, one of the most popular characters for that show, Slappy. That's his name, Slappy. You see, Night of the Dummy had about 4 different stories with it. You had Night of the Dummy, Night of the Dummy 2, Night of the Dummy 3, and Bride of the Dummy. 3 out of those 4 books were adapted for TV. The only one that was not adapted was the original one. Because you watch, like, wait, why is this called Night of the Dummy 2? Next, like, wait, Night of the Dummy 3? What about the first one? They probably skipped it because Slap is not featured in. Goosebumps I can talk about it at a time, but this book, it's basically, Man-Thing goes freaking Hollywood. Yep. And he talks. Yes, Man-Thing talks. Now you might be asking, who is Man-Thing? Like, who is he originally? I've talked vaguely about it before. Excuse me. Now, Man-Thing is a creation of the late Steve Gerber, and I believe Jerry Conway was responsible for his creation as well. Yep. Created back in the 70s. Now, his origin story has been virtually remained intact over the years. The only thing that may change to it is the one who's with him, Elaine. In the original story, they were married. In later stories, they were engaged. And it's also suggested that by the way, his real name is Ted Stallis. Yes. And it was suggested that he and Elaine had a kid together before it became Man-Thing. The kid itself was really shown up in the years. Oh, and here's something interesting about Elaine herself. That was not there in the original story, but later on they retconned it. Where in the original story, she works as a random terrorist who wanted to get their hand in the formula that, well, basically the whole reason why he became Man-Thing is that in the 70s, he was trying to recreate the Super Soldier Syndrome. This one he made his debut in Savage Tales #1. And basically, he injected himself, and here's the Elaine betrayed him to these random terrorists, which in a later retcon, they are revealed to be agents of the Advanced Idea Mechanics, aka AIM, the organization headed by a frickin' giant head guy named MODOK. Yep. So, he crashed his car into the swamp, and that's why he got turned into Man-Thing. Man-Thing is also Marvel's Swamp Thing. Yep, and here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that when he met Weapon H, it was also the same week as the release when Damage met Swamp Thing? The same week. I'm not kidding about that. It was so weird. So here, Man-Thing speaks, despite the fact before this book he never spoke before. He meets other Man-Thing. There's like various wild stuff here. And it feels very thin for a 5-issue miniseries. I thought it would be slightly longer pages, but yeah. It's it's a really fun miniseries. What do you expect? It's Earl Stine, and he's appropriate for this. I'm surprised this wasn't turned an ongoing series. He's also a very underrated character, Swamp Thing, and I won't say Man Thing. Our next up is the oldest Marvel comics I've ever reviewed. And that's saying something from the title, which word Marvel is coming from. Marvel Mystery Comics. Well, mostly we have Marvel Gold. We have Marvel Masterworks, The Golden Age Marvel Comics, Volume 3. This collects issues 9 through 12 of the original series of the 1940s. Yes, issue 1 is noteworthy for being a debut of Jim Hammond, the Submariner. It was his first public appearance after his unreleased issue. I think it was Motion Funnies Weekly, I believe it was. And it was an unreleased comic, which they were reprinted here for a few issues. The artwork for these issues, the writing for these issues, here's the writers for this one. This is very interesting. We have Carl Burgess, Bill Everett, who actually did some stuff in the 60s. Paul Gabberson, Stephen Dallman, Bob Orchester, and Ben Thompson. Oh, in case you're curious though, each of these issues, the reason why there's only 4 issues in this book, like 4 issues, not much. These books are about 70 pages apiece. Yeah, 70 issues apiece. 7 pages, excuse me. Now, in the first issue, issue 9, had what is considered to be the first ever comic crossover, Human Torch versus the Submariner. Yeah, this is the Jim Hammond Human Torch, not Johnny Storm. And you're thinking, why does Namor look so weird compared to how you normally drawn? It's the 40s. What do you expect? Yeah, and basically the whole first issue here, issue 9, is all dedicated to their massive brawl. Yep. There's other stories in here. Yeah, it's basically their fight, and they fight for this entire issue. It's a really fun story. The second story features Angel. You might be thinking, Angel. Well, the Angel. You think Warren Warren's the third? Oh, no. This is Robert Hathaway. Yeah, there's actually 2 Angels. Twin brothers. One operated in Europe during World War II as Angel, the other one stayed home. Sometimes you can never clarify exactly which one it is. But yeah, here's the Angel. And that's what he looked like. Yep. Mostly about a mad scientist. And it seems like, though, he's trying to rescue a woman who's here. And it seems like she's ready to be raped by the doctor. Because her clothes are partially torn, like she's about to get undressed. And then we face her against the Masked Rider, who Al Ewing decided to have this character die in Marvel Comics 1000. Yeah, he's just a Western character. Then we have Electro. You think Electro is Max still in the 40s? Nope. This is Electro the Living Robot. And you're thinking, what? Who the heck is this guy? He's a robot who appeared in this series. As a matter of fact, he made his return in the 12. I'm trying to find out a little more about the character. Excuse me a minute. First appeared in issue 4 of this very comic book. Yep. Yeah, here's the thing. He's only made 30 appearances since his debut. Yeah, he came in here with issue number 4, and he's in the book as issue 19. Yeah, for some reason they dropped his feature in this book right after issue 19. Do not know the reason for it. But yeah, that's pretty much your things in a nutshell in here. Yeah. Yeah, he's just a robot he's just a sentient robot, just operates in the 40s, fights aliens, stuff like that. There's a guy called Ferret the Detective. We have Ka-Zar. I think, wait, Ka-Zar? You mean Kevin Blunder? No, no, no. This guy is not him. He is, simply put, the Marvel Tarzan ripoff. Like, literally, that's what this guy is. Tarzan of the golden age of comics. His real name is David Rand. And you're thinking, Rand, is he related to Danny Rand? No, completely unrelated character. Just same last name. Excuse me. Yeah, like, you read the stories, and they're literally, like I just said, they're just Tarzan rip-off stories. That's what Tarzan the Great is. I think the reason why he was dropped after issue 27, probably because basically the creators behind Tarzan probably sued Marvel for this character. That's why the feature was probably dropped. That or the fact he wasn't a very popular character. Mm-hmm. And then we issue 10 forward, basically they, go separate ways, and mostly put you have Namor, who later on fights Nazis. He was more like an anti-hero first, and he started basically like fighting Nazis because they were threatening his homeland. But there's not really much else to say about these issues, mostly kind of the same thing, but it's really fun set of issues. And I do enjoy this era from Marvel Comics. Give this book I'll give it a 9 out of 10. We'll be fair with it. Okay, so that's the episode. Next up is Marshall. Okay, next video. Bye.